All right, so today we're going to do part two of Fighting Big Business. This is lecture number 10. We're going to continue to talk about labor unions and the way that they affected business during the Gilded Age. So we need to imagine for a brief moment that our lives are like this. We work for 12 to 14, maybe even 16 hours a day. You're on your own, you're on your feet the whole day doing the same thing over and over. You make little to no money. If you're a woman or child, you make even less. There's really poor sanitation. Your boss is mean, and you can get fired for almost anything as long if you're doing something that your boss doesn't like. You're gone. You get injured, you're gone. There's no health insurance, so any way you get hurt, sorry, no big deal. The people working next to you speak different languages. All you get is bread and water to eat. There's something that starts to build inside of you, and it's like this anger. It's like, what am I living my life for? I'm spending my entire day, 6 days a week, working in this factory, these terrible conditions. I got to do something to fix this because I can't continue to live like this. So we kind of look at the idea that Rockefeller, Carnegie, all these really rich guys had organized themselves together in trust in order to take control of the market. Workers began to realize that they should do the same thing, that they shouldn't be the ones being taken advantage of. Rather, they should be the ones that are taking advantage of other people, of these businesses and their ability to join together, and the fact that these businesses need them in order to prosper. So they begin to organize and unite, and these were called unions. Unions are a huge factor in business, and allowed these workers to bargain for better wages and shorter hours and better working conditions. Remember we talked about the Triangle Fire in the previous lecture. All the really bad conditions there, form and fuel the need for unions. And kind of the idea of alone we fall, united we stand. If I don't show up for work, then you can't, succeed. And if one person doesn't show up, then it's not a big deal. They can be fired. But if no one shows up, then it's a huge issue. So there's two unions that we're going to talk about. The first one is the Knights of Labor, created by Uriah Stevens. Anyone was able to join, women, African Americans, skilled or unskilled, farmers, they all could join. Had a lot of socialist tendencies and aimed at getting rid of capitalism. They felt that capitalism was the root of all evil in the country, and they wanted to get rid of it. They wanted it to be more socialistic so that people could work together and join together and everyone would be equal and no one's taking advantage of anyone else. So they used boycott, strikes, and mass meetings to stop or to show their power and the need that these companies had for all their workers. They also bargained with violence. They could threaten people at the top in order to try to get them to give them what they wanted. Okay, the next union is the American Federation of Labor, the AFL, led by Samuel Gompers. This is a more specified labor union. It was more specific to skilled workers. So if you were a skilled worker, you could work. Okay, the difference between skilled and unskilled workers are people that work in the factory and they do the same thing over and over and over. They're just moving metal or punching a stamp or sewing a shoe or not. That could be skilled, but doing something that's very, very routine that I could pull someone in, show them for 5 minutes how to do it, and then do it. Okay, so there's not much of bargaining power there because I can replace you so easily. If I'm a skilled worker, such as maybe a cigar roller, that's a technique that could take possibly days to learn. And if it's going to take days to learn, it's hard to replace that person. So they have a little bit more of a bargaining chip, because if they go on strike, then there's a big issue because they can't just all of a sudden train a bunch of new workers to do that. Okay, these guys wanted higher wages, shorter hours, and improved working conditions. They used strikes and collective bargaining. And as I say, skills are the key. Union workers could not be replaced with scabs. Scabs is something that you need to know. So I would make sure that you have that written down. Because scabs are people that replace these workers. When we've seen supermarket strikes, the people that are working in that supermarket are while everyone else is striking, those are scabs. So make sure that you do know what scabs are. They're the replacement workers for the original workers, and you can't really hire scabs to work for skilled laborers because you have to train them. So your biggest bargaining chip as a worker is your skill, as I said. And if you're an employer, unions are not a good thing for you. You got to think about ways that you would react to this. Okay, react to strikes. So in the 1800s, there were 10,000 strikes and lockouts. Over the course of 1886, 700,000 went on strike, and by 1880 you have 18 full unions. Okay, there's a lot of violence, and there's a good way to put it back. You can give strikers a rifle diet for a few days and see how they react to that, meaning the violence against them if they're striking. You can go after them and threaten violence, and maybe they'll come back to work. Okay, and that's going to be it for unions. We're going to talk about unions in class and do an activity dealing with all these different labor unions. Thank you very much.